Greetings, citizens of the world. A high-profile Democrat is finally facing the music after decades of corrupt behavior. Do not expect liberals or other big-league Democrats to denounce her, though. Former Florida Congresswoman Corrine Brown, DFL, was convicted in a federal court for taking money out of a charity designed to provide poor children with scholarships. Brown, who is a known friend of former President Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Hillary Clinton, was convicted of 18 out of 22 charges of fraud. This is how Brown's 25-year career came to an end. Besides her gross violations of the law, Brown's ignominious crimes are made worse by the fact that she deliberately stole money from needy children in order to pay for her lavish shopping sprees. Brown took money from the One Door to Education Foundation in order to buy new clothes, new handbags, and other vanity items that are nowhere near as important as educational opportunities for needy kids. All told, Brown was convicted of charges including financial fraud, tax fraud, conspiracy, mail fraud, and wire fraud. She is facing the possibility of 357 years in prison and a fine worth $4.8 million. For a time, Brown and some of her supporters cried racism because Brown was one of the first 3 African Americans to be elected to Congress in Florida since the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. However, after the full truth came out, many of Brown's well-heeled friends in Washington, D.C. scurried for cover. Even Clinton, whom Brown campaigned for in 2016, made no comment on the issue. This conviction comes after decades of suspicion that Brown habitually abused her powerful position for personal gain. Back in 1992, not long after Brown was first elected to Congress, the Federal Election Commission opened an investigation of her in light of evidence that she had broken several campaign finance laws. Brown was even accused of accepting campaign contributions from foreign citizens. Years later, in 1998, records show that Brown accepted a $10,000 check from Relevant Henry Lyons, a disgraced Baptist minister and the former president of the National Baptist Convention who went to prison for 5 years due to financial fraud. Just 2 years later, Brown butted heads with then Attorney General Janet Reno because she stumped on behalf of imprisoned African millionaire, Fa'utangadit Babani Sissoko. Brown's efforts failed, but she was rewarded for her pain with a $50,000 Lexus car. Former Florida Congresswoman Corrine Brown, DFL, was convicted in a federal court for taking money out of charity designed to provide poor children with scholarships. Do you hesitate to donate to charities because of the corruption? Do you hesitate to give to charities because of all the corruption? More infamously, in 2008, as Tropical Storm Faye made landfall in Florida, Brown used her political power to have sandbags delivered to her home. Despite all the evidence that clearly pointed to Brown's corruption, she enjoyed major federal posts for years. From here, she was known to make racist comments about all white men looking alike and clearly racial appeals to her black constituents. Brown was the type of corrupt demagogue who only had access to the levers of power because of low-information voters and friends in high places. Florida and America are better off now that she is headed behind bars.